WilburSoot is one of Minecraft's biggest creators, and he has enjoyed an exponential rise to the top over the past few years.
Get out! What?
However, with the emergence of some serious allegations brought against him, people who were once his biggest fans are now becoming his biggest haters, as he has lost 270,000 subscribers in the past month. Despite posting on YouTube since he was just a kid across multiple different channels, Wilbur's rise to internet success was due to his involvement with the Dream SMP, a roleplay-focused server.
Like ender particles all over you.
Why are you see-through?
Oh, be careful!
In 2019, PewDiePie would start his own Minecraft Let's Play, which proved to be extremely popular within the online community, bringing a whole new audience to the game, with each episode gaining millions of views.
Not the jacuzzi. Oh my god! Oh my, no, I ruined him.
So when the Dream SMP was created in April 2020, as the world entered a global pandemic, Minecraft's popularity hit an all-time high, and with that, the game's most popular creators experienced rapid growth. After joining shortly after its creation, Wilbur has been credited with creating most of the early story arcs that took place on the server, which in turn saw him become a popular member amongst fans. Not only was he a fan's favorite, but he also made good friendships with the other creators on the server. Most notably, he developed a strong relationship with Tommy Innit.
And the only reason I'm getting out of bed and going to my computer is because Tommy Innit has said, come talk to me. He's my best friend. He's my best friend, and I used to tell him how depressing that was that I'm best friends with a 16-year-old, but it's not depressing. It's not depressing.
Wilbur's popularity has seen him create an incredibly successful online career, amassing nearly 6 million subscribers on YouTube, as well as 4.7 million followers on Twitch. He has managed to use this audience to follow his passion for music, creating his own successful band called Lovejoy, in which he is the frontman, allowing Wilbur to perform all across the globe. With him seemingly on top of the world, this would all come crashing down after an ex-girlfriend of his would speak out about their relationship. On the 22nd of February, Shelby Grace, known as Shubble, would go live under the title, talking about something more serious. In her stream, she would open up about her first-hand experience of being in an abusive relationship with an ex. But despite never mentioning the ex's name, fans were quick to realize she was talking about WilburSoot, explaining how she suffered from Will's biting habits.
When I hear about physical abuse, I think of hitting. I think of hitting and punching. So I thought that this wasn't violent enough to be I thought that it was just like a constant accident that he kept hurting me. But he's not hitting me. And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me. He had this habit of biting, which is so weird to me now, but he said that he had had this habit since he was a kid, and even his mom said that that was true. And he said it was just affectionate, and that might have been, I think that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that every part of it was a lie, but that's just my personal opinion. And I had no problem with just biting. That isn't even the most uncommon thing. But he did mention something early that I should have taken as a red flag. And he wanted to make sure that I was okay with him biting me because he didn't want me to come back later and say that he abused me, which I thought was really weird considering he had never hurt me before. And so why would I call it and why was he thinking about that? And I thought he was being sweet, checking on me to make sure that I was still comfortable. But of course I was, because he hadn't hurt me. And why would I think he ever would?
Sadly, the biting only got worse, to a point where they had to incorporate a safe word to stop Shelby from getting hurt. But towards the end of their relationship, the safe word had been weaponized.
But his biting escalated to a point where I was covered in bruises all over my arms, and they hurt, and he would poke at them for fun. And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked that I was covered in bruises all the time. So he stopped biting my arms as often, and he started biting my legs instead. And it was in the last couple of months of the relationship that every time he bit me, it was until I needed to use this safe word. It had become his benchmark for when to stop. Only once I was definitely hurt, which meant I was being hurt every single day, multiple times a day, for all of the days that we spent together in person. And when I asked him to stop again, this time he said, "This is who he is. He isn't going to change."
With rumors circulating that the unnamed ex was Wilbur, 5 days later he would respond to the allegations on Twitter saying, "In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that, although I feel it fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. I have taken my time sharing this statement as I wanted to process and respond respectfully and with the hope to gain a deeper understanding for the situation." He then admits he became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish towards the latter part of their relationship, and that he understands the pain this would have caused Shelby. Eventually, he would address the biting allegations, saying, "The allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. I truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding. While I may perceive our interactions differently, I recognize that this person has processed and expressed feelings of hurt. I want to extend my sincerest apologies for any pain that I caused." Understandably, the lack of accountability Wilbur showed, as well as shifting the focus onto himself, didn't go down well within the community, with a lot of creators who have worked alongside Wilbur calling him out. AMC TV responded to Wilbur saying, "You started this off defending yourself by claiming you've changed, making it about you, then left the most simple yet most important thing for last, an apology. And even then, your apology isn't an apology. You left it at, 'for any pain I've caused,' which lacks any accountability." Before Puns replied with, "Saying you've been through therapy and are growing is not the same as taking accountability. Downplaying your actions and discrediting the person you hurt, shameful." Even creators closer to Will spoke out about the situation.
So Will's someone I've known a very, very long time, and my experiences with him have never, or anything I've ever seen of him, have never, ever been anything like what's been detailed. And do not mistake, I stand with Shelby 100%, I support her all the way. I'm not saying, it's just a shock, you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff that I've heard over the past few days from not only her, but the people in the replies saying what they experienced, I just didn't know that any of that was going on, and it's obviously been incredibly shocking. So, you know, I apologize for not saying very much, but equally in that tune, given that that is the case, I don't really have, beyond saying that I support Shelby fully and condemn what Will has done and his apology for being frankly disappointing.
Yeah, I'm not biased in this. I think that response was vile. I'm like, how the hell can you make, like, how the hell can, like, this be about you, bro? If any chatter in this stream or any person in this, like, community ever thinks about defending domestic or anything like that, or anything in that vein, or anything that serious, all right, you have no place here. And I want you to unfollow, and I want you to leave.
Things would only get worse for Wilbur as more allegations were brought forward.
He just bites everyone. He'd bite you.
He never bit me when I met him.
He would.
Including Alice, one of Wilbur's ex from 2019 who has shared her experience with the creator. "Hello, I'm Alice. I dated Wilbur back in 2019, and I want to speak out about my experience. I felt like I couldn't talk about this sooner because I was scared of his public influence and the potential backlash from fans. But now, after hearing Shelby's story, seeing the support she's been shown, and admiring her bravery, I finally feel safe to break my silence on our relationship. Back in 2019, at the beginning of the relationship, I was immediately shown a lot of affection, very reminiscent of love bombing. One of his close friends at the time warned me in confidence to be careful, as if they had seen people get hurt in the past, but I believed he was good inside. After a month, the honeymoon period was over, and it was like I was dating a completely different person. I was told to keep our relationship a secret, but was framed in a way that implied that it was for my safety, as if it was in my best interest to keep this a secret despite my own feelings. I believed that he enjoyed having control in the relationship. I would have to hide as he streamed and sit silently in the corner of his room waiting for him to go offline. He would say condescending things to me about my interests and the type of content I created as if he just didn't take it, or me, seriously, and would only be enthusiastic about his future plans with music and desire for fame. I never felt like he was encouraging towards me or any of my goals, and in the last few months he made me feel extremely unlovable and unwanted. I had suffered with tendencies in 2019. He ignored the marks on my body and only took interest in retelling his own life struggles. I also experienced the biting habit, which has already been elaborated on by Shelby. After a while, I noticed that it was always me putting the effort into the relationship, so I decided one day to not be the one to message first, just to see what would happen. And he never spoke to me again, so the relationship dissolved. Skipping ahead to 2021, we had spoken briefly over an Instagram DM about the relationship and meeting up for closure on how things went. In 2019, I gave him a second chance and met up hoping to get some answers. We walked through densely populated areas of town where we got stopped multiple times by his fans. In hindsight, this felt very intentional, almost as if it was to flaunt his influence and desirability to me. We went to a bar to talk, and he then proceeded to get me very drunk. He got us an Uber back to his house. I ended up blacking out in his bed due to the alcohol, but the last thing I remember was him non-consensually removing my clothes. The next morning, he proceeded to tell me that I must be a lesbian because I wasn't interested in him. These past years have been extremely difficult to navigate. Because of this, I couldn't go online without seeing him everywhere and being adored as this soft boy who heroically respect women and mental health issues. I couldn't even go to conventions and enjoy my own hobbies without seeing people dressed up as him. Shelby was right. Staying quiet wasn't bringing me any peace. It was only keeping his. Whilst these are just allegations made against Wilbur, a terrible response and lack of evidence supporting his claim has left the internet siding with Shelby. With his fans abandoning him, his online career appears to be over.